there guys, welcome to the meat shop. Thanks for clicking on. This video is part of a special video series inspired by you guys. I've been asked before for a recipe or sausage book, which I don't have, so I thought I would share my favorite book with you, which is Home Production of Quality Meats and Sausage by Stanley and Adam Marinsky. It is my favorite book. I think it's got great information in there for beginners and experts alike. And to celebrate my favorite book, I reached out to Stanley Marinsky and he gave me permission to do Marinsky March. So we're going to do a recipe out of this book every day of March. And all the recipes and all the processes are right out of the book, which will be in the link below. That is, a link to the book will be in the description down below. So without any further ado, let's get into Marinsky March. Welcome to another episode of Marinsky March. Today we're doing, out of the fermented sausage category, pepperoni. Slow fermented dry. This is page 429 out of Home Production of Quality Meats and Sausage by Adam and Stanley Marinsky. Reading right out of the book, dry sausage, smoked, air-dried, sometimes cooked. Pepperoni can be made from beef, pork, or a combination such as 30% beef and 70% pork. Pepperoni is a lean sausage with a fat content of less than 30%. Cheaper, fast fermented, semi-dry, and cooked types end up as toppings on pizzas worldwide to give flavor. Traditionally made Italian pepperonis were not smoked. So that's what we're making today, guys. I'm gonna follow the instructions right here as closely as I can. I got all the ingredients here. I got the meat ready to go. This one is gonna be a 70-30 pork beef mixture. I got some pork butt I've cubed up into chunks already. And I just pulled it out of the freezer, so it's ready to run through the grinder. And I got 30% lean beef there. And we're going to run it through all at the same time, and we're going to end on a 5mm plate for this one, then stuff it in, or mix up our seasonings and bacteria culture, because we're going to ferment it, dry it out till we lose 30% of the weight, and eat some delicious pepperoni. So let's run that sucker through the grinder, once on a little bit coarser plate, then on a little bit finer plate. So here's a close-up of the meat for you. There's our meat mixture, about to hit the grinder. All right, guys, fire it all up there, mix it up. Everything nice and tight so there's no smearing, and that little time it's spent in the freezer just helps it go through so much easier. All right there, guys, coming to the end of the first grind. Right on. Looking like a lovely meat mixture. Kill the grinder, and we're gonna put our 5mm, well, I don't have a 5mm plate, I have a 4.5mm plate. So this is gonna be our final size here. All right, second and final grind here, guys. Here we go. Wow, that looks like a really nice ratio coming out of there, guys. I never get tired of it. Never get tired of looking at yummy meat. I've been doing this since I was 16. I'm not gonna tell you how long. All right, guys, here's the end of it. All run through the 3/16 plate, and I'll show you the final product. Beautiful, light pink color with little bits of fat in there. Yes. Okay, now before I even add the spices, in this hand here I have the bacteria culture that we're going to be adding, and I have some room temperature water. So I'm just going to add this to this little bit of room temperature water so it dissolves the dextrose that the culture is packaged with, because it eats that dextrose to grow more colonies inside of our meat mixture. So I just stirred him up a little bit, let that sit in there for a minute or two. Then I have the spices that I pre-weighed out to this batch, which is, you got to be pretty specific when you're doing it, because the amount of salt you have and the amount of cure you have is important in these, since we're fermenting them and you want to control the bacteria the best we can. So here goes the spices with the salt. The end ratio, guys, here for most of these in the book is just over 3%. So then we're gonna add the cure number 2, which I put in a little separate compartment here. All right, just toss that around a little bit there. It smells lovely. All right, it's got most of that absorbed into the meat there now. I'll just add our little bit of bacteria culture, making sure to get it all. Now you don't need too much water, guys, just enough to dissolve it, because we want to dry this out, so you don't want a lot of water. And then that just a little bit of water helps spread it evenly throughout this meat mixture. So the step after this, guys, is going to be stuffing. I think the book calls for, you can do these into whatever size you wanted, I guess. If you're patient and had the time, you could stuff them into big diameter ones and shave them off for sandwiches and stuff like that. But I think I'm going to do mine into 29 32 millimeter casings. This one says stuff firmly into beef middles or 2-inch fibrous casings. Maybe I should. Okay, guys, I'll get this loaded in the stuffer, then we'll stuff them and get them into the fermentation chamber. Okay, guys, so we got it loaded up. I decided I am going to put it in the larger fibrous casings. Stick with the book. So I'll slide that onto my large diameter horn, and we'll stuff firmly in there, squeezing tight around the end of the horn. First little bit, there it is. Oh, those guys are gonna be cool for pizzas and things. There's our first one. I think this is gonna fit too, just perfect. Here's our next one. Perfect. There's the end of it. Might take a little bit out of the bottom of the stuffer here and stuff it in, but we're gonna take these two guys here, tie them off at the ends, and stick them in the fermentation chamber at 68 Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius, 90% relative humidity for 72 hours. All right, there they are, guys. The pepperoni links into the fermentation chamber. We'll check on them in 72 hours. All right, guys, the next step here for the slow-dried pepperoni is to begin the drying process. So I've turned it down to between 52 and 60 and 80% relative humidity. I'll just give you a little look here. Nothing's really changed with them. Not much has changed with them, guys. They are just kind of glossy, and it was quite humid in here a couple moments ago, so it's just drying time now. So we'll take a weight off them and shoot for 30% weight loss. All right, guys, I just took the pepperonis off the gram scale, so they're going to be finished up at 1,330 grams, which is 30% weight loss. We can take them down a little more, but there's not much more action on these guys. I'm just going to keep an eye on them, make sure no bad mold grows, and make sure the chamber is running at the temperature it's supposed to be. So all going well, the next shot will be them finished, 30% lighter. Okay, we're checking in on the pepperonis this morning, guys, here. They developed a little bit of mold from the mold that existed in the cooler before, but we're just gonna give them a grab. They're feeling kind of nice and firm. No bad mold on them, by the way, guys, just all white mold. And I did have a little speck of green mold show up, and I just give it a vinegar wipe. Didn't get that on camera for you though, but we're just gonna see if our pepperonis are close to 1,330 grams. A little closer look at them here. Looking a little wrinkly, they're nice and firm. All right, we're good. 1,330 grams. I got them 1,255. So I dried them a little more than they needed to be dried, but that's good. Now let's crack into them and see how they look on the inside. But again, here, guys, they're nice and firm. You can see they've dried out a bit. All right. There we have it, guys. Not too bad. It's a little damp in the middle yet compared to the outside. I wouldn't call that case hardening. but I maybe accelerated the drying step just a little fast on them to get a perfectly even dry all the way through, but I'd still call them done. They're still pretty firm in the middle, so we definitely got our weight loss we required. So I'm gonna peel the skins off these and give them a taste test. I should be throwing this on the slicer to get it as thin as possible, but it's a nice couple of thin slices here. All right. Another little look for you. Not bad, eh? Good protein extraction. Our little peppercorns and fennel seeds and stuff are suspended in there. All right, let's give it a bite. Okay, guys, I'm always excited when I'm able to pull off a fermented sausage. So many things can go wrong down the line, but smells good. You just can't beat the flavor of a fermented sausage. That is so nice. A little bit spicy, got some really good tang, a little bit of heat afterwards. I would call it a success. So, what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm just gonna peel these, vacuum package them, and that's gonna let that little bit of moisture from the middle head out to kind of the little bit drier side, so it'll equal out just a little bit. Other than that, though, I'm really happy with these guys. So thanks for watching the slow-dried pepperoni episode out of home production of quality meats and sausage. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm going to do a recipe out of that book every day in March. Got a couple more fermented ones coming up for you too. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.